All right, I'm going to start the recording now. Mike, we'll get started. I think I got, at least my clock says it's 9:45. Everybody else, but. All right, everybody ready? Woo! June. I told my wife that means I'm halfway through my tour here as a division superintendent. So. She said, 1 year, what are you, Twitter? So. Anyway, welcome everybody. Jeff, you all know me. Welcome to the June division meeting. What's that? I'm going to step back. Is that better?
You see me now.
No. All right. We will have to relocate to the Wethersfield Police Station for the next meeting because I have run out of Cheshire Railroad pictures in this brief. So I just scoured the internet to find. Those who are online who may not know, we are in Cheshire, Connecticut instead of Wethersfield. So to spice up the meeting, I've been trying to find pictures of the very, very limited railroad activity in this town, which is basically 2 industries and a branch line. And I did find a new one, though. You can see it. That is a New Haven switcher in 1963 coming through town in Cheshire. Just kind of a great little train. You can do every one of those models. But we'll go through the normal kind of things. We've got 2 clinics for you today, and we have a virtual layout tour. We're not going to take the normal lunch break for that layout tour. We're just going to go right after the second clinic right into that, okay? Since it is virtual, nobody needs to travel for it. All right, so we are at the 9:45 to 10 o'clock. I probably have already spent 5 of my 15 minutes, so let's get going. And you can see the clinics we have today on making background trees, modifying wall-finish buildings, and then a layout tour. So I didn't know this, by the way, but at one time or another, there were 5 different train stations in this town. As the railroad continued to change, we had some trolley stops and moved it and did that. So we actually, at one time or another, have had 5 different stations. That's one of them. But this is what we're going to go through. It's kind of the normal stuff we go through just to keep everybody who's online and who sees this recording later on YouTube that where we stand with the division and what we're working on. So I think everybody knows by now, if you haven't figured it out, the 2021 National Convention was canceled completely. The 2022 convention is in its original place. So you just completely lost the 2021 convention. For us, in the local area, checking the train shows, right now there's none through August that are going to be in person. If anybody knows of one that's going to be turned on in the next couple months or whatever, let me know. The biggest one for us is, the first one I know of in person, is the September 11th North Shore Model Railroad Flea Market, which really isn't a train show. It's more like a swap meet. But that's in Wakefield, Massachusetts, so not too far away if you want to go to that. That's the very first one I've seen that's going to be in person. We were talking before we started the recording that the Amherst show will be in person. They did announce that for January 29th and 30th of 2022, so get that on your schedule. That's 6 months away. I think most of us go to that because it's such a great event. And then in particular, although it's not model railroading, I wanted to point out that the NAUGI, the Railroad Museum of New England, which is right up the road here, has actually reopened as of July 9th. You can start booking trips with them. They've got a series of them, 5, 6 different, events, if you will, all the ones that are normally special for the holidays and all those are going to happen. And they do have a pretty easy website and a calendar. That's a snapshot of it if you want to go to the Railroad of New England. They're starting to do the train rides again. You know how old that picture is when someone actually drew the picture of the station. That's the oldest picture of a station in Cheshire I've found. And this is, I believe, the same one from the previous video, just in a different angle. Previous slide. Okay, so what about the region? In the Northeast region, what's going on? Well, first of all, our old webmaster, not Chuck, but Dave Abrams, our old webmaster, is the region's webmaster. And Dave has just completed a pretty lengthy and extensive redo of the NER website. So if you haven't been to it, that's the address, nmra.org. It's got a brand new look, new colors, new pictures. And in particular, I'll jump down to the last bullet to let you know, because it is on the website, is the regional election is ongoing as we speak. Okay, you have until the end of the month to vote. I also attend, because I'm the division superintendent, the regional board meeting. And so far, because of online voting, this is the most, and by the way, we're not even halfway through the time period, this is the most votes the region has ever had in an election. Now that may seem great until you realize there's only one contested spot. So you get to go vote for just one position, either or. All the other ones only have one person to vote for. So knock yourself out, but you're really just going to vote on one position. And which one do you think? I think it's the vice president position. It has two people running for it. Everybody else has just one. But it's a very nice website. Dave did a great job. Take a look at it. Spend some time with it. Good stuff. Also along that line for what the region has done, every single virtual convention they've ever done, gosh, I'm going to guess it's like 40 hours of content at this point, is on YouTube. And all you have to search, because nobody uses NERX, like nobody uses those 4 letters together. So all you have to do is search NERX, and there's probably 40 hours of YouTube videos for you to watch about everybody's clinics in the world, people's layout tours. You know, Kaylee, our old superintendent's got a big part in it. She was the MC for part of the show. So good stuff if you'd like to spend some time and do that. Convention-wise for NER, for us, the normal convention, the in-person convention, the old-school convention, the way we like to do conventions is October 8th to the 11th, but right now registration is open, okay? Some of you registered for when it was going to be in 2020, and there's that whole transferring the registration thing, which you get to go to 2021. But if you haven't signed up yet, I encourage you to do so. That registration is open. Looks like it's going to be a good convention. Looks like everything, this is in Massachusetts, right? But looks like everything is set to do that in person, fully vaccinated, mask optional right now for the actual part at the hotel. And then it looks like all of the layout tours, the layout homeowners may choose to have one or not have one. So I can't tell you whether a mask is going to be at a specific event or not. We have to wait till we get there and everybody's lined up. But a lot of good people stepping up to do convention clinics and that sort of thing. Why is that important to us? It's important to us because the single largest statement of work will most likely start at that time in October of this year, where Nutmeg gets 2022's convention. And if you haven't heard, our actual hotel that we were going to have it in got sold. It's not going to be a hotel anymore. So we are actually shifting to a different venue for 2022. And I wish Ken May was here or on the phone. He'd tell me the name of it. I'm blanking on which one it is. But he did find, it's supposed to be the one that the program meet goes to now. Do you remember what that is, James? Do you remember?
That's the one in Farmington. That got sold.
Oh, Farmington was the one that got sold. We were going to go to Farmington, and now we're going to a different one. I don't know the exact one. Trust me, none of you are booking your hotel right now anyway for 2022. So we'll make sure we completely advertise what the new place is, but we'll do that. All right, so that's where we are in the region right now. Membership, I know it says 174. I think they're somewhere between 164 and 174. We are still looking for clinic coordinator and social media positions. Everybody else here is set. I think everybody is here with the exception of Ken May's not here, and John is
he's
online for us. So John's recovering. John, I hope you're feeling good. That's a pretty good list of folks, I think, for running the division. But we do really need help with the clinic coordinator. We do struggle with that every month, not having one. And then the social media position would be nice too. Finances. I'm happy to report that there's a 501(c) for NMRA and Nutmeg Division, which allowed me to transfer my matching donation. I donate at work, and they match to a 501(c). If you get to the PAC at work, there's a match. So I raffled that match over to NMRA Nutmeg Division this year. What does that mean? That means we have more than enough money to go do the constant contact service. So it's a big project. It's been a lot of work so far. We're going to set up the constant contact email system, and you're going to start to see a different sort of communication in email, very similar to what you see from the region. So all those region emails, all those NERX emails, those are all constant contact is the name of the program that uses it. It's a much better system for us to also find out how useful the information is we're putting out. We'll have better tracking to see who's really getting our emails, who's really opening our emails, how many people are viewing them, which will also, if you didn't know, this division, hard to believe when it's like 12 people here, but Ron puts out 700 plus emails every one of these meetings and invites 700 plus people to this. The membership is only 170 or whatever it is, but there's a whole bunch of other people that want to be invited. We have no idea even if they're alive. We just keep sending them emails, right? So it's going to help do a lot of things. Luckily, we haven't spent any money, so we have a good balance. It's good. It's growing. I also wanted to include the Marion, Waterbury, and Connecticut River Railroad. If anybody knew, nice east-west running railroad here through Connecticut. You can see any of the Beacon Falls right there. Meriden, right here. Waterbury is right here. So pretty interesting. This would be the line that goes to Cheshire. Cheshire, all right. Pretty neat map. Just thought that was cool. And the American locomotive, the 440, right? Standard Old West looking railroad. Yeah.
You ever read the history on it?
No, I didn't. You know anything?
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about
it. The Connecticut Valley chapter, the NRA chapter, years ago, did a book on that.
Yep.
And,
cool. Maybe bring them to the next meeting. I'd love to see them.
Yeah.
Okay, so communication-wise, I talked a little bit about constant contact. We're still doing email the old way. We're still doing snail mail the old way. We're still doing meetings six times a year, every other month. Everything you're seeing, including today's meeting, is recorded, and it will be put on YouTube. All the previous ones, I think there's the last 4-ish ones of these meetings are all online that you can watch if you would like. Facebook is also up to date. We announced this meeting on Facebook, so those people who like to use it. I'm surprised. I actually do get the data. Facebook does let me know when people are looking. It's been growing. I get notices all the time of new people adding, new people liking, new people viewing. So it's good to see that people are actually using that. And Chuck Gray is in the back, who took over from Dave for the website, has been working hard, chipping away at making our website look better. All sorts of well beyond the scope of the course technical issues that I don't understand that Chuck's been pushing through to get the website where it is today. But it is up to date, good information, even like announced today's meeting where it is. So it looks great. All the people are correct on it. So the 2-year-old kind of cobwebs on the website is gone. And the next great step for Chuck is to make the look, I'll say, the green stuff go away and look towards our current black and red kind of look for our division. So that'll be the next thing you see. I did talk about the layout coordinator and clinic coordinator, wanted somebody to volunteer for that. But also, if you didn't know, James does double duty. James is not only our treasurer, but he's also our secretary. So we would also, you know, if we can get another member to step up and take the secretary position, that's great. And then once every 10 years, we have to review the 3 pages of the Constitution committee. It's something that John Gam stepped up to go do. So we'll review that. When he's done with his review, we'll share any changes here. What is truly amazing to me, I can't even get this through my head, this 3-page document has actually been existing since the 50s. And it's been updated every decade since the 50s. So I guess it works. I guess it's you know, Good enough. So another thing in the 2021 calendar, we are in the June meeting. Right now we're scheduled for August 14th for the division meeting. I put the regional convention up there. We may need to talk about whether we want to move the October meeting, but it does correspond with the regional convention. So we may move October to a different week. And then the December meeting for the end of the year there as well. And again, I'll reiterate if anybody didn't hear it the first time, I will say we are most likely back in Wethersfield next time. This should be, I know, and Ron's crossing his fingers going, Jeff, you're so optimistic. But the reality is, yes, I'm optimistic that we'll be back in Wethersfield. I like the Wethersfield room better than this room. You know, although I actually attend church here, it's nice, but it's familiar, it's close, right? But the reality is this is not as good a room as the room we use in Wethersfield. So hopefully, God willing, the creek don't rise. Next meeting in August, we'll be back in Wethersfield. So. That was the last of my Connecticut trolley, huh? Look at that. So we're going to take a brief break while we set up for James to come up and tell us how to build trees. And then we'll take a slight break after that one and reset for the second clinic after that. All right? So just give me a few minutes and we'll transfer over to James here for this one. Anybody got anything they want to say? Got a joke? Anybody? No? I did one thing I forgot to mention while we were here, because I just looked in the back past Chuck and noticed. Art brought something and I brought some models. I realize we've been virtual all the time. Now that we're mask optional, fully vaccinated type folks, we're going to try to reestablish the bring your models, right? So kind of still it's just like a look, no touch kind of area anyway, right? But if you'd like to start bringing models to the division meeting, I know we used to do pretty well at that. We used to have, 15-ish kind of models on that table in any one day. If you would like to, next time in August, please think about bringing some models to share and let other people see your work. All right? So let me reset for James here. Which one was it, James? This one? No. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to do it this way. I don't know what it is. All right, you ready, James?
Yes.
You want to do an intro in person before we start, or just want me to roll the beautiful bean-footed chair on the?
Roll that beautiful bean-footed.
So this is our very own James Mayo, who's made he's brought some of these trees here too. Maybe he'll show them off at the end. But good video of making trees. Don't worry about the sound, it's coming. Let's see.
Yes, sir, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's vlog.
Oh, hi! How's everybody doing? I'm so... Okay, what was that? What's wrong with that?
Just hold on before you actually turn to somebody who wants to chat.
What did you do, Mr. Okay, keep going. Keep going back.
Narration's not coming across clearly on my reading. People.
All right. James, you want to come see those things? You want to show them off a little bit? Okay.
Any questions if there are any? Yes.
Bring them up to the
Bring them up.
camera.
Right there. Okay. It's in focus.
Yeah.
Okay. Trees, done. It has some bare branches. It's crown foam and the leaf flake. It's on there really solid. And yeah. Trees. Correct. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I put on you to the second thing. This is something I'm working on. Okay, let's finish this off. Okay. All right.
Don, are you on mute?
Huh?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you mute, Don? I think when you joined, we got a lot of background noise.
I actually ended up. I didn't know how much
I'm on here.
So I had 3 trash buckets full of. Well, I'm down to 2. But, yeah. Well, plenty of trees for my layout.
All right, we're going to take a second here and queue up the second clinic.
Or if you want to see it, if the video is too jumpy, go to my YouTube channel. That James Mayo's Shreveport and Central Mississippi Railroad. That's because
You have the list over there.
practice for.
Can you mute yourself, Don Mayo?
Say again?
Can you mute yourself? When you dialed in, we got a lot of background noise. If you're...
No, there's not right now. But I'm stagnant. I got an awful time getting it to take me in.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Who is our second?
Okay.
Don second or Mike's second? Mike, are you on?
Mike second, suppose it's...
Are you on, Mike?
Jeff, can you hear me okay?
I can, but we got to get whoever's on. Everybody go on mute, please. Whichever of you has all the static in the background is dominating the audio. Can you hear me now, Mike?
Any noise from me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you share your screen and give your presentation, please?
Well, I'm not sure about what I have to do to share it. It's a PowerPoint. I have it here on my desktop.
There's right in the middle on the bottom, there's a thing that says share.
Okay. Bear with me. Looks like it popped up real quick here. Right. Share. Chat reactions, attendees in flight. I am not seeing the share button. It's in the bottom.
Yep, it's in the bottom and the middle on the same bar that has the mute and the videos.
So far, I am not seeing that. my middle, I see invite, attendees, chat, and reactions.
There's no share in the middle of that?
Don't see anything over here on video either. See, I got a preferences. Let me see if they.
If everyone takes like 5 minutes while we figure this out, feel free to take a break here.
Oh, now I think I lost.
Sure.
Oh, maybe I'm there now.
You have to see yours because you're seeing what is actually coming out of the.
Do you see me on large screen now?
I see you personally, but what do you see?
Light catching up.
Yep.
My PowerPoint now?
No, we don't see your PowerPoint.
Still not getting it. Okay.
We see you.
I just see me, huh?
Oh, I did for a second.
We never shut his video off your camera. But then it's in the screen. That's when you're second.
I don't have his presentation. If I had his presentation.
You don't have a shit.
I have a share. Here, shares for me. Shares the share more to the people on. Do you see the share button, Mike, at all?
Wait just a minute. I lost the screen here. I'm trying to do quality for purpose. I still don't see share on my screen anywhere. Active speaker view, gallery view. I've lost even seeing anybody but myself right now.
How big is your presentation, Mike?
It is, let's see, hold on a minute. Characteristics. It does, well, it's about 77 slides. So it's not, I'm trying to see if I can find PowerPoint what the size is, but I haven't found it yet. File, let's see, preferences. Or you want me to try to email it to you?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking, because I think your free conference call doesn't allow you to share.
Oh, okay. All right, let me just see. Let me close out my PowerPoint. Now the question here is, I don't know if I have your email, Jeff. Let me see.
Well, let me tell me the size first, because it may be moot if it's too big. 77 slides may be enormous.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm trying to bring it up to tell you. Just bear with me. The one I want. Let's see if it goes this way. Come on. Options. Let's see. Well, I'm having trouble I can't seem to find in PowerPoint where the file size is. Bear with me a minute, I'll try another way.
If you're on a Windows computer, you should just be able to right-click the icon and look at properties.
I'm on a Mac. Bear with me. Let me go back and try that. Sometimes the Mac will work the same. No, I don't want to leave the meeting. See if I can get it that way. Well, there is a thing that says share, but that's not. Come on. I can email it as an attachment.
Okay, how big is it?
Let's just see here a minute. It's gonna. It's a little over 100 megabytes.
Over 100 megabytes?
Yeah. 100.
How big is it?
100.6.
You can try to email it if you want, Mike, but I'm not saying 100 megabytes is going to go through. That's a whopper.
Okay, well, that's what I thought. What's your address, Jeff?
JHANKE.
JHANKE.
19
19.
at gmail.com.
That's why I was wanting to do a trial run with you guys. Okay, I'm hitting send. I'm sending it with no subject message. Would you like to send this attachment in the mail drop? No, I'm going to send it in the email. Okay, it's supposed to be on the way.
He processed in YouTube, but he doesn't have
Mike, I'm waiting to see if it comes through.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's all right. Any chance you can make it into a PDF while you're sitting there? Do you have a PDF writer?
I can try. I don't think I can. I can do it from Word, but I don't know if I've never tried to do it from PowerPoint.
You should be able to PowerPoint file save as a PDF.
Hey, Jeff, this is John Gam. Can you hear me?
Yeah, John, what's up?
Is it possible for Mike just to upload it to something like Dropbox or one of those and send you a link?
Well, right now we're trying the first one. We're trying an email.
Sounds huge for an email attachment.
I agree. And
okay, I'm saving it as a PDF.
Hello?
yeah, is that Don? Don Mayo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, well, you're... No, that's Don Mayo. All right, we can hear you. You are definitely the one with the static in the background.
Oh. Well, I can mute my mic.
Yeah, please mute it. Thank you.
I'm sending it again. It's J. Give me
JHANKE.
19?
Yep, at gmail.com. Wait, stand it.
That's 51 meg.
You can literally send a file right from the past.
Goes away.
When they make it by phone.
No title.
Streaming. Right now. No. Sure. It'll tell you if you don't do it. This should just look like a slide out there that how much
Don, please go on mute.
you left clicking there?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Take the attendees up either. Might be one of these.
Thank you, Don. It doesn't let me see it.
Like Jeff.
Yeah, Mike.
You can't get to the attendees?
No, but you can.
Yeah. But you might be able to direct him to attach it direct to a chat. So he should see chat.
Mike, can you see the chat bubble on the bottom?
Yes.
Click it. Click on the chat link.
I see the chat stuff. I still don't see anything about sharing.
No, but there should be a paperclip.
Is there a paperclip on the chat where you can attach a file?
Yeah.
See if you can attach your PowerPoint slide.
Okay. You want the PDF or the main one?
Yes. Either one. Whatever. Whichever one you got. PowerPoint's fine. Either one.
I got the PDF here. I'll open it. Okay, I've got something down there now.
It should pop up a little box that shows that.
Said there was a mail failure to you. Do I click on it to open it?
No, I want to see if, Ron, can you see it on the chat?
Not at the moment. Said that it's a failure? He said that it's a failure. No.
It shows it under the to everyone as a square box now.
It's in the chat right now? I can't see the chat because I had this stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I gotta go off of that.
Is that it? Is that the last chat?
Yeah.
I can't get that to open.
No, your chat didn't come through, Mike. We don't see your chat on our end with the file in it.
I'll attach it again.
That's mine.
All right, let me try it one more time. Something's not. I'm trying to attach the PDF one. And it says open. Now it pops up just below to everyone as a square logo or symbol, but I don't know how to open it.
Did you hit enter and send it?
Yep, I know I had
It's gonna send it to Nutmeg Vision Forms.
I send to everybody. You'll see it if he sends it to everybody.
Oh, yes.
You can't see that in the chat area, huh?
The last one we have is Don's that says, Mike, type something, let's see if the chat is working. That's
Okay.
the last one.
Oh, okay. Then it says, then I have a thing that says to everyone that's in there. How do I hit send on that?
Enter. Type a message and hit enter.
There you go. Now it's sending it.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't I've never used this audio.
I see the word clinic.
That can be the
I
same
typed
thing.
the word clinic. I did.
Okay, do the same thing with your file and then hit enter again.
Well, it's uploading the file. It's not done yet.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
About a third of the way through.
Okay, good.
Keep going.
Do you have share?
File's 48 meg, 49 meg.
See there?
Almost half.
Here's a whole screen to see everything.
Why I can't see the chat? I have no idea.
Do you have share on yours?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is why I'm trying to.
2/3 of the way done.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I think we're making progress.
I can see what it's counting in. We've got 10 meg to go less, 8 meg, 4 meg, 2 meg.
There we go. I see it coming in.
Okay, I see.
It's coming. It's building on my side for 10 out of 48 megabytes right now. Pretty cool. Gives you to the third digit. Just in case you wondered if it was 21.075 or 21.076. It's curious.
I'm stuck in the preference of the conference call. I can't seem to get back to the group screen.
What the heck happened there? What the heck happened there?
Can you get to this? Let's get that.
Yeah, I'm back.
The opening?
Yeah, how do you open? No, I know. Where'd my stinking chat go? It was just here.
Oh, you don't have it. You can't see your chat screen.
As soon as I hit it, it vanished, this thing. Here we go. We're getting there. I appreciate everybody being patient. This is like the, you know.
Don't do anything at the moment. I'm not just going to click on the chat button.
No, don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. Watch this. Watch this. What do you see right now?
You, basically.
Me. That's a great thing to see. Excellent.
You can see your main screen.
Watch this. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, can you see that?
I can see your.
Can you see that?
Not on my screen. No, I see it up there.
Hey, Jeff, John Gallagher. I right-clicked on the PDF icon, hit save to download. It downloaded, and then I opened it.
I see, John, I can see his clinic on my desktop. What I can't figure out is why the desktop is not showing to you guys. It looks like it's sharing right now.
Yeah, as I said, I just right-clicked it, and it gave me an option to download it, which I did.
Yeah.
And I just opened it on my screen.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
If you click on that My PDF icon, do you get it? Flashed up there a second. There it is. That was it.
Why isn't it there?
I can see it on my screen. Why you can't see it, I have yet to understand.
You see the first slide.
I do.
I'm just still seeing your chassis.
Which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. That's a good thing to look at while I'm trying to figure this out.
For a moment, it ghosted on top of your chassis there.
Where is his? Is that the PDF on this one?
It's still showing me.
Flash for a second.
No, it has nothing to do with what I'm clicking.
What about matrix buttons?
For what? It's not going to change anything. How am I sharing this on the web?
Okay, is this where his document is?
That's my desktop. That's where the document is.
What about?
You're just seeing an image of my desktop.
On it up there on the left side of your screen on the says PDF. Would you like to open that? Will that work? Or did you try that?
Say that again?
Go up to the left side of your screen. I see where it says Kit Bashing Cornerstones.
Yeah?
Have you tried clicking double clicking on that?
Yeah, I think I understand what I'm doing. What I don't understand is this is exactly how I showed you the PowerPoint earlier in this presentation. I don't know why you're not seeing it now. I can't figure out what's different.
Now we lost your desktop.
Yep, I know. I'm trying different things.
Okay.
This has really made me want to invest in a Zoom.
We purchased a license for Zoom. But you can do up to 30, I think, on Zoom for free.
If you hold that and drag it up, you should be able to click on
Go back into the free conference call button. Go up and to the right.
That's the chat.
Right. Oh, that's not it.
See, by the way, this is something totally different than my desktop. I can see his presentation. What I don't understand is why you are seeing my desktop while I can see his presentation. Hold on.
Right. Drink onto your. There you go.
I know, because it's the Alt Tab thing.
That's it.
Can you see it? You've kicked your... Okay, can you see it?
Nope.
What do you mean it just went away?
It just went away.
What do you mean it just went away? We just had it. Oh, you know what it is? You know why it's changing? It's changing because he's talking. That's what's happening. Can you hear us, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
If it helps, I can open the PowerPoint.
No.
On overlaying your screen and talk it over it.
I think we're...
Just lost
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? We just lost it. It's when I click the slide to the next slide. Oh my goodness. What are we doing here, huh?
Maybe because it's a PDF and not a PowerPoint.
No, it's just a screen. It's just sharing a screen. What it does is it shares one of the windows I have open. So it's sharing. When he talks, it goes to his window.
But that's your window. Or one of your windows.
Oh my God. What?
I now see a share button.
Do you see a share button?
Yes, I do.
Download it onto your thing and put it up there. See if you.
All I can do is click on it.
Okay. Can you have the chat? Download the file to your desktop from the chat, and then see if you can bring it up. So I feel like we're at like, you know what we need? We need someone who's like 16 or younger.
Now it's popped onto my screen. We don't see it here.
Keep working it. No, it's an upgrade. You have to upgrade your free desktop to have the share ability. I had to add that on to be the host. What? You're seeing share right now?
Yeah, I see share on the bottom of your screen.
Do you see share on yours?
I do.
Huh?
I do see a share button.
All right, see if you can share your own clinic on your own desktop.
Would like to record this screen. Okay, let's see. Well, here goes nothing. Yeah, maybe I'm going to be able to do it. Find the.
At some point, Chuck, when I was going through everything, I found something that said presenter only or everybody, and I just clicked everybody just to do it, to see what happened. Guess what? Everybody can share now. Okay.
No, I can't see it.
You seeing my screen now, guys?
I do not. I see you talking right now.
It says, wait a minute. I just hit share and it says go to settings. Okay, it's showing. Okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to find it right now.
Sorry, everybody. It's a little more extended break than we had planned. We're still working it.
And I'm trying to get it so that I can, whatever I'm seeing, to show up there.
Bear with me. I'm trying to get it to access that thing, and it will not let me. It takes me to security and privacy, and then it won't. Oh, wait a minute, maybe this too? Well, for a minute it's popping up on and off again.
Well, that was me trying the tab thing again. I don't know why it won't stay on the PDF. I was just trying to find out why it's doing that.
It says, when I click on share, it gives me either or go to stop, enable screen recording access for free under security privacy. So if I go to settings, oh, there it is, free conference call. Maybe that's what I'm needing to do. Hold on. It won't let me select. Why, but when I try to share, it just won't let me.
I think I can do this now. Hold on. I think I know how to do this now. Boom.
Okay.
There was a setting when I started screen sharing that said, what type of things do you want to screen share? And I had only the free conference call. I did not have PDF checked. So I just checked PDF, which now does not stop it 1 second after it shows us. I'm going to officially say I hate this program right now. Okay? I appreciate everybody who's lasted 20 minutes watching this comedy of errors. But Mike, right now we can see your presentation.
Try expanding.
It is out on the. It is going out now, right?
Slide. Okay.
I'm at the.
There you go.
All right, but I can't advance.
I can advance. You tell me when you want to advance.
All right. Well, okay, back up. Okay, so as the title implies, this is going to be dealing with the Walters Cornerstone kits. I think exclusively. Go ahead. And it's based on about 50 plus structures that I've built. My company is Train Guys. Currently, that's my wife and I. I started out with another fellow who unfortunately passed away in 08. And I built all these structures for an HO layout that's probably, I don't know the exact size, at least 1,500 square feet. It's located in Williams Bay, Wisconsin, which is down near Lake Geneva, if anybody knows the state. Next. This layout, he models the Wisconsin Central Railway, which existed between 87 and 2001. And you can kind of see the general area on the left map and a little more close-up. It's not critical, except that he has all of his towns' names. So he's trying to model certain parts of the route very closely. Next. Okay, here's the first of the buildings that I'm going to show you. This was called Condex Cold Storage in Lomira, Wisconsin. Next. Here's what the actual building looks like. I snagged this off of Google Earth, I think. I tried to do this on every building when he'd give me the name of the actual industry, just to get an idea of color, look, if it's new, if it's old, etc., kind of what kit might work. Next. For this one, I started out with the R.J. Frost cold storage kit, many of you probably have seen. He had bought one new one, and then somebody getting out of the business or getting out of modeling, he picked up a used kit that was missing one of the long side walls, not the dock side wall, but the opposite. Next. So here you see the kit, and the kind of dimensions. Notice it's normally 11 by 11 inches. Next. So to build the convex, I took the two dockside walls, spliced them together, as you see. So you got the overhang and a much longer dock. Next, the ends, the normal end, I chopped off the rear 1/3, so to speak, and used the same end out of the two kits so that the roof ends matched, as you can see left and right here. Next, and here's how it looked when it was installed on the layout. You have to appreciate, I hope, that this layout, the track was all laid mostly on cork, or the main lines at least on cork, and all ballasted, or a lot of it was already ballasted, and so I had to make the structure fit the space, basically, in almost every one of these situations. It's not exactly how I would personally design a layout to do, but you've all probably dealt with that situation. Anyway, here's how it fits against this backdrop, which I did not paint. So sometimes the backdrop may appear out of scale. I'll say that, leave it at that. But he put in a piece of, I think it was masonite or soundboard to raise it up because the cars wouldn't clear the dock overhang. So there's the first building. Next. Now, from the leftover parts, which was the other ends, I built a second building. Next. This is a abandoned building that was previously the White Rock Brewery. Actually, I think that brewery moved somewhere out on the East Coast. It used to be in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So I took those other two ends, and they had all the stairs on there. And on the view on the right, I used that 1/3 I had spliced off the backs of the other ends to give it a little depth. I think I made up that concrete dock underneath it, and I think the door and the steps and the railing coming out on the door were there. Next, one of the things I did to kind of enhance this, one, I wasn't extremely careful putting the stairs on because I wanted this to look abandoned, and as you can see, I used tan pastels in all cases for weathering, and kind of rusted it up. The other thing I did on a number of his buildings is I went online, I Googled White Rock logos or White Rock Brewing logos, and so that sign you see up in the top, as well as those two in the lower left corner, those are all watertight decals. I snagged the images and then printed them out with the color inkjet printer and made my own water decals for it, just to give you a little idea of some ways you can make a building a little more accurate. Next. Oh, again, this is just showing some of the decals. We'll go ahead. And when I was installed on the layout, it was like so. There's no track in front of it since it's supposed to be abandoned. He actually came up, you can see there in the right of the picture, with a reefer that was painted for White Rock water in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Don't know where he found that. Go ahead. Okay, our next project was WSIS Supply Chain Solutions Warehouse. This is in South Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Next. For this, I decided to use what's called the Lakeview Modern Style Warehouse. Excuse my accent. Because it had this kind of modern vertical look to it. So this is what the kit picture from Walters looks like. Next. And this is important to kind of see all the bits and pieces because this is going to get reshaped into a lot of different ways. But the fortunate thing is you can see all the panels there and kind of gave me an idea of what I could do to reshape it. Next. Again, here was the normal dimensions. It had an office on the end, which I did not do, you'll see. So my plan was to use the 4 walls, making one long backdrop building with just some parts used from the office, as I described there. Go ahead. So here's the building after it was built, and this was on a siding that he put in enough space, I believe, to handle 3 or 4 cars, plus the curve. So that's why the building is wide on one end where there are no doors. You'll see this a little better in the next view. That's a kind of a top view shows. So you can picture I've made it fit as a bigger building where the siding comes in off the main and curves down close to those 4 doors. The 3 doors you see in the left view on the end, those are truck dock doors. And then I use part of the office stuff on the other end to give a pedestrian or office input. Next. So here you see it installed. You can see that curved siding a little better, and you can see he's parked a semi in front of one of the dock doors. So you get an idea of how you can reshape a building. And I don't think I have a slide that shows it, but the whole entire side that is up against the backdrop here is open. I use some of the Plastruct square stock that you can buy. I think it was the 1/4 inch square for reinforcement. So the roof and all, and there's some vertical posts in there. Go ahead. Sorry. Okay, here's our third project. This is a company called Addison Storage Warehouses in Slinger, Wisconsin. Go ahead. First, I looked online to see what it looked like, and that's what the real place is in the bottom part of the picture. But he wanted to represent a couple of warehouses because of the sidings he had already put in. So you can see these were sort of self-storage, and I didn't have anything in the parts box that looked like that. So next slide. He had purchased also part of a getting out sale, not an estate sale, a obsolete kit that Walters had out called the Sterling Consolidated Dairy, and it consisted of all the buildings that you see in this picture. I snagged this off the internet. Next, it's 5 buildings. So to build these 2 storage things, I used the 2 make parts from the 2 brick buildings that you see with the arrows pointing at them. Next. And so here's what I came up with out of using those parts. I came up with a 2-story storage building, warehouse number 1, a 3-storage, it's not quite as long, but 3 stories high, and then a small storage office building. Next. So here's the first one. In order to get this to work out, I used all the parts to make the sides and front end facing the aisle, and I just filled in the back for strength and so forth with a styrene panel. I did spray it a primer red brick color. By the way, all the buildings you see here that are mortared, that's thanks to my wife. She's very good at that. Also, all of the windows painted by hand. Okay, next. Here's the 3-story. Use the same concept. It's not as deep. Some of this may recognize this building is basically using what you can buy today as DPM modular parts. For those of you that don't know it, there is a fellow, Mr. Lundy, who has a line now called Lundy Studios, I believe it's called. I got to know him at TrainFest a couple of years ago, and it turns out he worked for Walters at one time and designed all these brick modular parts. And Walters used them in a lot of these kits. Little history for what it's worth. So here's the front of this one. Move on, please. And here's this building's approximately 4 by 4 inches. It's 2 side panels on one end and 1 long panel on the other. And I slapped a little vent on the roof. Next. Had a few leftover parts, as you can see here. So I thought maybe I can pick up 1 more building. So I played with that, and the next slide shows you I came up with a small garage that you could perhaps put some truck, a short truck, a pickup or something with a large roll-up type door on it. The other thing you might note, I was out of window frames, and they gave you in these kits some brick fill-in panels, so I just filled in the panels, as you can see in the right view. So I ended up getting a 4th building out of the leftovers from that big consolidated dairy kit. Hope that gives you some ideas. Next. Okay, so when we installed them on the layout, it was something like you see here. You can see all 4 buildings, and you can see the sidings, but as my title says, oops, modifications required. Anybody know why? Well, it's because if you look at it, buildings, the cars that he's got parked on the sidings there would not clear under the awnings over the building decks. So we had to go back, and I can't remember if he elevated the buildings. I think he actually took the track up, removed the cork a little bit, and laid it right on the home soak base. Go ahead. Yeah, that's what he did. And so here it is. Now you can see his cars, the buildings were tall enough to clear. That's one little thing about Walter's kits that just aggravates me to no end. All their buildings are structured to not handle trackage that's mounted on cork roadbed. I'm sure some of you have experienced that if you've built some of their kits. Okay, let's move on. Here's a back view looking at, normally I leaned way over to get this shot, just showing you where these were positioned. That's a 3-track sort of storage staging yard behind the buildings. But I just wanted to give you an idea of the depth that I'm working with there. That entire part of the layout from the fascia to the skyboard is only 2 feet deep. Go ahead. Okay, here's our next project called Pro Building Supply Complex, Lamira, Wisconsin. Next. Okay, for this one, believe it or not, now this is going to be a building supply. I used a packing plan. This is the kit as it appears in Walter's website. Next. So here's what I analyzed. I'm going to use the part shown as what became the left part of the building and the right, and obviously the cattle pens and ramp up into it from a packing plant standpoint would not be used. So kind of keep that in mind. It's going to look pretty different to you when you see the final thing. Next. So here is the left building, the front and the rear view. And you'll notice it's open in the back because it's going to go against the fascia. It wasn't any point in this case. And I actually put a floor because I thought he might want to put some internal detail someday in the second floor that's visible through the windows. I don't think it's likely. Again, the white material going from end to end is the square stock available from, I can't remember if this is Plastruck or the other one that makes plastic parts. But I definitely had to use a lot of that to reinforce because of the length. So effectively, I took the front and back identical walls, glued them together to make twice as long a building. Next cue. And here's the right building. I did the same thing with it. You can again see I put the cooler on top, and then I put the dock and a little fence that came with it to separate because there was a drop-off behind the dock. And I wanted that longer dock that you see on the left edge to fit between the buildings. Next view. So here you see the whole thing put together. Actually, I put a water tank on top. That was part of the kit, I think, or maybe I borrowed that from another. And the water coolers on each building. And then I moved the power stack right down to the end of the dock. So the idea is that when he unloads on that dock, the wooden dock there, things get moved up. Remember, this is a building supply. They would get moved up, presumably on forklift or whatever, and moved into one end or the other of the buildings that the roof overhang that you see there. Is it absolutely accurate? No, but I had to make a big complex. You'll see that better in the next slide on the layout. Oops, I'm sorry. There's a little bit more detail showing the end view. Go ahead. And here it is installed on the layout itself, and you can see the siding comes in from the right and goes down. So operationally, which he does do op sessions on this layout, you would have to shuttle cars to unload them 1 or 2 cars at a time at the dock. But I think the siding is long enough to hold 3 cars if I remember correctly. Next. Okay, here's our next project. This one got a little more challenging. Seems like each additional building I built for him had a little more challenge from a kit bashing standpoint. This is called Tidy Products in Neenah, Wisconsin. Next. Just a little thing about Tidy. I didn't know a thing. I went online, Googled the company. They're caregivers that fix things, and they solve problems for for people who are caregivers. So this is a little slide I put together, sterile drapes, various drapes, patient safety devices, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of, I'd never even heard of this company. And the logo you see up there is, again, a logo I snagged off of using Google. Go ahead. So here's the real plant up there, and a big sign out front, and I kind of took 2 or 3 views. They've got a truck dock, they've got parking spaces. You can see the rail line coming in and curving down beyond the vehicles there in the lower left up against the building where there's 3 tanks. So that's what the real facility looks like. It is kind of a modern structure. Go ahead. Here's an aerial view. You can see it's quite large. This is kind of aerial from this. We were looking at it from the side, which would be at the bottom here. You can see the rail service is 2 tracks. He's not going to have that. Go ahead. So I'm trying to model something. Now he's already positioned the location for this, and that green arrow is pointing where this building is supposed to go. And I was using a tape measure here, and those tracks that you see in the right with the crossover, that's not part of this, nor are the 2 just to the right of it. It's the 2 kind of on the angular tracks that are supposed to serve this industry. Keep that in mind. Next slide. So I, again, chose the same building kit from Walters to use to get that modern vertical look. Next. But here's what I had to do about it. I had to change it to a trapezoidal footprint. I had to convert the rear wall to a roll-up door, 4 inches wide. I had to move the track side doors from the right to the right side of the building, and the non-track side, you'll see that in a minute, on the left. And then I had to modify the roof into a trapezoid shape. And then I repainted it to approximate the colors, and you'll see a scratch-built loading. Go ahead. So can I really make sure I got this to fit? I took a piece of brown paper, I was done on site, laid it on top of the track, and with a marker kind of drew where the tracks were to the edge of the cork road bed. Then I brought that home, and I don't know if you can see the word TIDI there in the kind of upper right of the paper diagram, but that's where the building's to sit, and the other 2. So here is the building before I put the roof on, front side, back, track side, and rear walls. You can see I had to do little fun things inside to get the foundation pieces all to secure together to give some stability. And I realigned the walls. Now we'll go to the next side. Next slide, please. Now you see the 2 long sides. Okay, the left view shows what I call the non-track side. I had to put those doors in there because I didn't have enough blank panels in the kit to eliminate them. And then the other side, the track side, I had to space those out as best I could to fit parking 2 cars in front of them, 2 box cars. They're not exactly at the perfect spacing, but it was pretty critical. Next. And so here's the small end at the rear. The idea there was he will be offloading stuff from the loading ramp with a forklift, bringing it over and bringing it in through this large roll-up door at the rear. There's the top view of the trapezoid roof. I got pretty good on that. That was fun trying to get that to fit after I built the walls, I assure you, because that's glued together out of 4 pieces. And what you're seeing there on the roof has been spray painted with the Rust-Oleum texture, black texture paint. It's kind of an interesting effect. He liked it. It looks kind of like a tar roof, not in the best of conditions. Next slide. So now here you can see the track side on the right with the logo added. And then on the other end is the dock side, I call it. There's a left office entrance there, pedestrian entrance, and a couple of low office. And then there are 3 dockside doors. One is the single one. I have marked the reception area, and the shipping is doors 1 and 2 toward the center, as you can see it. So that's kind of how it looked when I had finished at home, ready to take it down to him. Next slide. And so here it is installed, looking from the entry point, so to speak, of those two sidings. And then in the right view, you can see just from the opposite end, and I scratch built just out of styrene, and weather painted, and I painted it, by the way. Rust-Oleum has two excellent paints. By the way, all these buildings that you've seen here are done with shake can painters. There's not a single bit of airbrushing here. While I own an airbrush and a couple of paint booths, I found it's a lot more trouble to clean the brush and all of that setup. And I found this paint, Rust-Oleum, I think it's called Rust-Oleum X2 or the various ones, worked really nice. Paint the pieces before you assemble. One little implication there is you're going to use a lot more super glue because some of the plastic bonding glues don't do too well when you're gluing parts together that have already been painted, out of my experience. Then the building itself, I've weathered up with pan pastels, various shades of brown and gray. So that's kind of how it all looked when it was put onto the layout. And the owner, I think, was quite happy, maybe even a little surprised. Oh, the last thing you can see, he had some metal castings of air conditioning units. So we painted those up in silver and glued them in what we thought would be appropriate locations on the roof. Made it look more appropriate. Next slide. Okay, here's the next project. This is a company called Voith Transmission, Neenah, Wisconsin. Next slide. For this, I used the railroad shop kit. And his requirements were that only one track would go in the building. It would be one car length inside, and the footprint space was very tight due to the adjacent buildings because this sat, as you will see, very close to the tidy building I just shown you previously. So that's what the kit is built up to look like. Next slide. It actually is designed that you could have 3 tracks coming into it. Back up for one slide for a moment, I'm sorry. That low one-story part, because of the footprint limitations, I decided to eliminate that from the building. Go forward again. And so here you see only the 2-story part. And what I did here was I kept the right-hand track going into the building. It was designed for 3 tracks coming in. I put a roll-up door for truck type deliveries or out in the middle, and then just an employee door on the left. Inside, I kept the smokestacks that were on it, but I painted them just a simple gray since I figured there wouldn't be all the smoke that a locomotive building would have had. And I just the signage on that, I took their signage, but I had to just print that in Word and print it in color and paste it onto a white styrene strip. I couldn't come up with a decal for that. Next view. Here you see a top-end view. 2 things I did that are 3 things in the interior. Number 1, in the left 2/3 where the ramp and platform is, below that I put some plastic down to cover up where the 2-track molded in would normally be, so you wouldn't see that. I think the horizontal supports that you see there in kind of the light gray, they were part of the kit. But the overhead crane you see in the right third of the building, painted kind of an orange or rusty color. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a motor near the door end where the track enters, and there's a pulley and kind of looks like a cable in it. This was meant to be an overhead unloading crane. This kit bashed out leftover parts. It's not an available kit. And I elevated it up so he could run a car in underneath it. And so you can kind of see it through the windows in the photo on the right a little bit. Last thing I ordered, you can see in there in yellow in the left third, I put circular safety ladders climbing up as well. Those would have been kind of, the idea there was leftovers, just from when it might have been used as some other type of building. Adam used it. Next slide, please. So here's how it looked when it was installed on the layout. I don't know if you can tell, but in the right corner of this slide is the corner of that tidy building. So it gives you some idea of its relative location. Next slide, please. Okay. I guess we're doing pretty good on time, right, Jeff?
I don't know. We spent so much time trying to get it up and running. I've kind of lost track of the agenda, so just keep going.
It's about 10:35. This is kind of a bonus session. Since I wasn't able to take questions or so forth, I'll just go through some additional kits. If that's okay, I'll go ahead and 15 minutes to cover or less. These are mainly what I call some backdrop buildings, and they're not with one exception, they're not any of the backdrop kits that Walters markets as backdrops. Go ahead. Here were some leftover buildings. Those pieces I didn't use in the railroad shop, I put them together, glued them edge to edge, like so. Next shot. Oh, I painted them, mortared them. So these were the front parts of that building. Next one. I'm sorry. This was a whole additional railroad shop. I'm sorry, that he did not want built up as a solid building. So I built two different backdrop buildings. Here's one here. Next shot. And so here's one as a backdrop. If you look close, you can kind of see the four different walls there. There's two alike in the middle and the same on each end. And this was actually put up, it's only, I think, a half an inch deep. And it wasn't meant to be an active building. It's supposed to be an abandoned factory. So I bashed out a few windows. I don't know if you can see that, and painted different stuff in the back so you couldn't see through the backdrop. Next. And here's the other one, the leftover parts. It was a smaller building. It, too, is not meant to be railroad serviced. But he wanted another backdrop sitting in this area to kind of hide some of the painted on backdrop. By the way, he had an art friend, a teacher who I think he is an art teacher who painted his backdrop in watercolor. And while they were very good, he didn't start it out. They weren't really to scale, in my opinion. So I think he decided the more we could cover up, the better. But anyway, so that's two backdrop buildings made out of that one kit that are pretty large. Go ahead. Also had I made a backdrop building or two from another one of these. Looks similar to the Lakeview. This is Peterson Tool Specialties. Next stop. Here's all the parts you can see, and so you got some long sides and end pieces that you can move around as long as you're not worried about having a back in it. Go ahead. So I made buildings from this. Here's one you see. Again, I think maybe this one is 3/4 of an inch deep. So it's got one loading door there and a large roll-up door that really doesn't make sense, but the way that panel was built, I didn't have a choice, so I just put that gray door you see on the left there, the light gray, in front of it. Next. Here's the one I did out of the rest of the kit. This is not a rail-served industry directly. It would be a warehouse manufacturing building, and again, it's only about 1 inch deep as well, as you can see the end view in the right. Again, the signage on it, which is not real clear here, is the actual logo of Magnafoot Man. Weathered it up a bit, and that's what you got. Okay, now I did say I did build one actual backdrop kit from Walters. This is their so-called Armstrong electric motors, as you see, made up by their picture. Go ahead. Here is the real place that it's supposed to represent, which is the wholesale foods with truck docks and stuff. That's a picture I snagged looking at it using Google Maps, which is excellent when you want to look at real industries you're trying to model. Go ahead. Well, here's what the final thing looked like, because it was a backdrop type situation. You can see the siding in front, room for 2 things to be parked in front of it, so I gave it 2 doors. And I think this building was a ½ inch or no more than 1 inch deep. I can't quite tell from this deep. Sorry. Go ahead. And here's the last backdrop building. This I used a Golden Valley canning kit, and keep in mind what you're seeing, that arched roof there, and the dock with the overhang, and then the brick wall you can see at the left side of that building, and then you can tell there's some kind of a rail dock where the yellow car or rail car sitting on the other side. Also, there's an outside steam generator building of some sort, it looks like. Okay, so that's what the kit's intended to be. Next. Here was the real building. A couple of things. Notice it's not even close to, it's a modern type building. It's got a fancy brick front office. It's got a large dock loading for trucks as well. Okay, next. So here were all the bits and pieces, and I used the 3 sections, the left, right, and center, as you look at the final product. The one with no arrow pointing to it was discarded. Oops, I'm sorry about that. Phone. Next. So here's the building as it was made up, because I had about 1 inch of depth. So I hope you can tell in this one picture how I used the 2 sidewalls, essentially, quote, bent them around to fit the arch or peaked roof in, and then the external building is sitting there on the opposite side of the track. So that gave him another, what I would call a backdrop building, given it had. Oh, one last little thing here. Can you go back 1 slide for a moment? Oh, I'm sorry, 1 more, please. 1 more again, I'm sorry. You notice in this, there is a water tower here, sitting there on the left side of the roof. So that water tower is about 2.5 or 3 inches in diameter. Now, if you go back to the slide again there, what I did here is I cut that water tower exactly in half and put her back together, put their logo on it. So it's only about 1.25 inches deep there. So I just throw that out as another way you can kit bash things. And at the left end, behind the black car, you can see a little bit of the stairway coming down. If you remember, that was on that one side of the building. The rail side dock would be the side, or would be the portion of the building where the water tower is. I actually made 2 of those, used those 2 halves and made him up 2 of them, but he only wanted 1 of them mounted. He didn't want 1 on each end of the building. Okay, I think we're there. 1 more slide, if you would, Jeff.
I don't have another slide. That's it.
Okay. So I haven't given this for a while, and normally using Zoom, people stop with questions and what have you. So I kind of got through this quicker than I expected. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. But I hope this gave you some ideas how you can take sort of conventional off-the-shelf models and kit bash them around for a lot of different spaces and depths and types of industries, so forth. Any questions from those of you that are out there? I see everybody's got their microphones muted. But any questions about what I used or anything, tricks or anything I learned? I got to be where I feel pretty good about kit bashing after doing. I've now built over 60 buildings for this fellow, and I would say more than 30 of them had to be kit bashed.
Must be a pretty big layout if you need 60 buildings.
Oh yeah, you didn't see a lot of them. He's thrown a lot of challenges at me on this he originally wanted to hire me to do all the scenery, and for health reasons, I can't stand for 6 or 7 hours straight and do scenery anymore, so I had to turn him down. About 2 weeks later, he comes back and says, well, can you build buildings? And I said, yes, if you'll let me do them sitting down at my kitchen table at home and then bring them to you. So we kind of agreed that as the modus operandi here. And this layout, I don't know, it's kind of an L-shaped, but I'm guessing it's 15 to 1,600 square feet. So, yeah, that's pretty good size. It's about 2/3 of his basement. He did all the bench work, track laying himself. It's all Code 83 track, mostly Walters switches. The vast majority of them have the Tortoise motors in them. It's a Digitrax DCC layout. One of the things I didn't put slides of in this one, he had already put in a Walters turntable. I think it was, I can't remember if it's the 90-foot or the 130-foot version. And he built a 5-stall roundhouse on one side and a 3-stall on the other, except that he'd only put the foundation plate down. He gives me the building kits and says, I want you to build these. So I had to bring all the parts home, paint them. It was, of course, they're brick, if you're familiar. So my wife mortared all the walls. We glued in all the window frames and panes. So then I took the pieces down and assembled them on site because he had already laid the foundation pieces with the track coming into them, and didn't want to take that up. That was all in place. And in addition, I put a LED lighting strip in each one, made by Patriot Lighting, that I picked up. You can get these, I think, in places like Home Depot. We have a Home Depot-like place out here called Menards. I don't think they're on the East Coast. But I used those LED strips as well to put some lighting in there. It came out looking quite nice. Sorry I don't have slides to show you, but that was quite a challenge, to say the least, to build it when the foundation is nailed in place and you can't. You got to make sure everything comes up good, blue square, etc. The other thing that we've built on one big peninsula is probably at least 8 by 10 feet roughly. It's curved. Is the complete ethanol plant that Walters put out. I think there was 4 or 5 kits, and he in fact had double of some kits for extra silos and so forth. So that was while there was not, I don't think I did any kit bashing on that, there was a lot of construction to fill that one in, to say the least. There's a couple other buildings I've done for him. One I built entirely from DPM parts, and I have one, my last kit currently that I'm planning to build for him is leftovers from the scrap box, and it's going to be about 6 inches by 12 inches in footprint, roughly. Sorry, I don't have it symboled. I couldn't show it to you.
No, that's all right.
And so the other thing I would hope people would get a sense of looking how the buildings are in placement is, I've done all the weathering here just using the Pan Pastel kits. I found they work to be pretty nice. I'm sure that it's not the best weathering that people have seen, but I don't claim to be anywhere near an expert, not even intermediate level with an airbrush, to use an airbrush for that. So I kind of hope that some of the ideas I've shared in these would help, let's say, either the beginner or intermediate modeler. The advanced modeler would probably do some things that I didn't do or don't know how to do myself. Any other thoughts, questions, comments from anybody? If you want, I'd like to take just 2 or 3 minutes to tell you just a little bit about our division, if I can, Jeff.
Sure.
We call ourselves SCWD, which is short for South Central Wisconsin Division. We're in the Midwest region. Madison, we're centrally based in Madison and the surrounding area. We don't go quite all the way to the Illinois border. Beloit, Wisconsin, the southernmost town. They are part of the Rockford Division, which is immediately south of us. And to the east of us is the Wisconsin Southeast, the Wise Division, which is centralized in Milwaukee. A couple more things. We have about 150 members according to the NMRA rosters. I would say about 65 of those are active. During the COVID year, we were getting 35 to 40 in our video sessions, virtual sessions, I'm trying to say. We used Zoom for that pretty well. Some of the other activities that we do as a division, besides we meet nine months out of the year, September through May. In January, we do a meeting for the public as our January meeting called the Rail School, which is open and gets advertised. And we sometimes draw up to 150 people to that. It's a day-long, afternoon long. It starts at about 1 and we try to wrap up at 4. Some other things that we do, we have a model contest and a photo contest of both prototype and model at every meeting, except for the Rail School meeting. We also have what we call a year-long modeling project. I'm going to be chairman for the coming year, and this year I think we're going to try doing one of the paper buildings, let people use one or more of those to create a diorama in either inch or inch scale. We've done a variety of projects. I won't go into detail over the years. We've been doing the modeling project for 10 years or more. Oh, I forgot to tell you, our division was formed, if memory serves me correctly, in 1967. So we had our 50th anniversary back in 2017.
Good.
One other thing that we're quite proud of, we are the sponsor, organizer of the Mad City Model Railroad Show and Sale, which we didn't have it this past year. As I said, told you before we started, we squeaked in 1 week before the COVID shutdown. We will be doing it in February. I believe it's the 19th and 20th, or the weekend that's closest to those dates in 2021. That show has grown. This is our 47th or 8th consecutive year since we created that show of doing it. We currently use a county exposition center, and we don't use all the center, but we have close to 90,000 square feet in that show. It's a 2-day show, and we used to draw close to 10,000 people. In more recent years, it's closer to 8,000. But it's a good show. Obviously, vendors, I don't know how many layouts we have, probably 15 or 20 at least, maybe more, and a lot of vendors and so forth. So we're proud of what we've achieved with that show over the years, and hopefully we'll be able to continue doing it. Of course, we have to rent the space, and that makes it a big deal. Let's just say our budget is in excess of a 6-figure number. So a large part of that is the rental.
Okay.
So anyway, that's just a little bit about SCWD, and it's been a pleasure. I don't know if Don White is still on with us. He and I worked together at the same company about 25 years ago in Madison, and he's the one that invited me to do this. And it's hopefully been of some value to you.
No, I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you for sharing that stuff. And I've seen Don drop on and add on about 6 times while you were talking, so it sounds like he may be on, he may not be, but I do appreciate you dialing in.
No problem. I see your layout too is going to be a fellow division member, so I'm going to stick around and see, because I haven't operated his lab for a year and a half, so I want to see what's new myself. That's Don Mayo.
Yeah, so for everybody, if you want to just take a brief, I think that's Don Waite, if you would go on mute, please.
Right, thanks, Mike. I wasn't bored. My internet has been cutting out every now and then. I don't know why, but it does happen. It seems to happen more when the weather's warm. So, thank you so much. Good seeing you. We haven't changed a bit.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. One quick question, Jeff. I might be able to get you the PowerPoint if you want to post it or YouTube it, or do you think what you recorded here is adequate?
Yeah, we'll just post the recording on YouTube.
All right, fine. Well, thank you. I'm going to put it off now so I can watch the layout tour when you're ready.
Yeah, okay, we're going to take just a brief break. If someone in here wants to take a break, we got to, while we try to set up Don for his call. I know we've struggled trying to do the test with that one, so hopefully we can figure this out. But the rest of you guys, if you want to just take a break, we'll see if we can get this going. So Don Mayo, you're on?
Yeah, back on.
Don, what are you going to show?
It's a video. And I do have the share button on the bottom of mine.
Okay, why don't you hit that and see if you can start sharing as a test here while everybody's stretching their legs.
Select item to share. Okay, I'll hit that button. Desktop. Okay, does everybody see that? Desktop. Desktop.
We don't see it yet, Don.
Okay, desktop. Start sharing.
Oh, I see your desktop now. That looks good.
Okay, because I still see the... Oh, wait a minute. Mine's doing something now. Are you there still?
I saw your yellow desktop for a while, but now it's something that's black.
Yeah, it just went black. Now it's back to the desktop.
Yeah.
Let me... I got to get to my screen, I guess. Just a second here.
Ooh, we're getting close.
You got my screen?
Yes, I can see the start screen with all the tiles on it.
All right, I just clicked on my video. Let's see what happens here. Got light flashing. There it comes.
There we go. Happy Valley Railroad.
Yeah, so we got it.
Just make it big.
All right.
Welcome to Happy Valley Railroad.
There we go.
And with me is my wife.
Okay, when do you want to start this? Is everybody back?
Yep, looks like they're back now. Just roll it.
Okay, it's 28 minutes long. And this was prepared with the help of another railroader here in our division, Bob Wandop. So he's a video specialist after I and my wife took the pictures.
Senior specialist, Mary.
Okay.
Today we will take you on a tour of the railroad as well as provide a description of the railroad. The Happy Valley Railroad is a 30 by 15 E-shaped layout which is set in the 1950s. A short line railroad serving 5 communities along its route. The layout is a point-to-point operating layout with the CTC dispatcher center and operating block signals. Built by Don White. conveyor yards in 3 locations, and 7 trains on storage tracks are used for connection to the outside world. The railroad also has a traction line operating on the overhead, which serves on line industries and a car ferry. We are using the Rail Pro Power system to operate the railroad. An operating session involves a crew of 9, which includes a dispatcher, 4 mainline engineers, 3 yard masters, and 1 traction motor man/engineer. It is operated using ShipIt, a computer program system, and a train schedule for a 12-hour day with both passenger and freight service. The railroad has evolved over time since 1965. The scenery is partially completed. We will start our tour in Allstott by riding in the cab of the Valley Flyer. Departing in Allstott, we enter the first of 2 tunnels. Exiting the tunnel, we will arrive in Crest City.
This is Carter Meats Company. And the engine house. Area is called Allstott. In the background, this tan building is the hardware and appliance distributor. And the railroad station with the Happy Valley Railroad team on top is their headquarters. We have multiple future buildings, and this will be our new hotel. Along with our courthouse. This area is called Allstott. Here's the ice house.
We are now ready to depart Allstott for Crest City. We're now entering the only tunnel on the Happy Valley line.
Hi, welcome to the Happy Valley Railroad. This is Crest City that we're entering right now. It's got lots of businesses in this area. A restaurant on the corner. Sabrina Chow Feed Mill. Hillside Lumber and Mill Company. And storefronts. There's activity going on. This is our train station. With our ice cream truck. Everybody loves to visit that ice cream truck. We have a smaller station right next door. Not quite as much activity. have an orchard here, an apple orchard, pumpkins, sunflowers, and corn. And this is also a big farming community. So they have horses, and lots of beef cattle. I think I hear the train approaching. Let's see. I believe we'll try to catch it. So that we can see it coming in.
We're waiting for the Freight 157 to arrive in the yard before we can depart. We now have the green light, so we are able to depart our yard here.
This area is the subdivision where the families live. The children are going to school. Well, actually, they're playing out in the playground, it looks like to me. And This is our schoolhouse. This is the front of our schoolhouse, and I do believe school is just letting out. There's a lot of children out here ready to load onto the bus. There's a lot of activity across the street. The mailman is delivering mail, and children are walking their dogs. Looks like a lot of visiting. Speaking of visiting, the park has a lot of things going on as well. Little picnic area. Did you just catch that? Playground, sandbox, and a tire swing. Remember those when you were young? Look at this. There is a camper ready to be taken on vacation. I'd love to go with. And over here we have some basketball playing going on. A lot of activity in that yard as well. I love these orange trees. We have a McDonald's nearby so that families can go whenever they're rushed for time. This is the city's bakery and the book publishing company. And the hotel in case they have extra guests and no room to house them. This is really a family-friendly hotel, and it's very reasonable. These are a couple of future businesses. And speaking of future businesses, we have Edible Incorporated. It's a food wholesale company, and Kleinberg Furniture Company. This is the steel fabricators. And the granary. And look at this road. It just disappears off into the countryside. Isn't that cool? There's another station here. And this is a shoe warehouse. The granary in the back and the water supply company here in front. This is our fire station. And thank goodness for those great firefighters. This is the future home of the Kleinberg Lumber Company, or Lumber Mill.
We are approaching Kleinberg, which is the largest switching community on the railroad. And we have to start out. We have a red signal. We are now waiting for the Santa Fe passenger train to arrive so we can proceed. This is where we always meet. The two trains meet here at the Kleinberg station. We're able to proceed on our way to the next station, which is Pineville. Now as the train is past us, we should be able to proceed as soon as we receive the signal. We are now proceeding to the south end. Northernmost terminus in the Happy Valley. Now we will proceed through South End Hall.
This is the Ancona warehouse, and behind it, the Harper Publishing Company. The commissary building and the REA and our train station. is the train approaching, so it shouldn't be too long before it's here.
Arriving in the Santa Fe yard from the main from the west. Santa Fe's main line into the trunk of the Ancona passenger service through the Attractions transfer yard. And we arrive at the station. And that completes the run of the Happy Valley Railroad. We'll now take a ride on the Ancona Nutmeg Morris Traction Company yard. We're starting in this interchange yard between the Santa Fe and the Traction Company. We'll proceed through East Ancona, Richards, and look at County Track, interchange track on the west. The Richards on that the passenger pickup. And we are now arriving at the terminal point of the railroad passenger pickup.
This is the East Ancona feed mill. And as you can see, this farm we're coming to has a lot of beef cattle. This farmer is having a birthday party for his daughter. This is Pineville's feed mill. And the stone quarry. There's a load of stone right here in front. This is another station. And this trucking transfer facility. This is the Pineville paper mill. I believe I hear the train coming again. Here it is at the station.
That completes the tour of the Happy Valley Railroad. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed your time with us, and have a good day.
All right, Don, thanks. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you yet. Well, I can see you up in the corner. There you are.
That's me.
Yeah. Do you anybody have any questions?
I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I was really impressed by that tour. You have a very good home layout. I mean, first of all, signal systems working. They blow my mind, right? Signals are so hard to do, but no, everything looked really good in there. I don't know if anybody here in the room got any questions or anything for Don?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Don, what are you using for your signal system? What's the hardware behind it?
The driver behind it?
What hardware are you using to implement the signal? What are you using for block detection? What are you using to drive the signal heads?
Well, it's actually Don White, if you remember, knows more about it than I do. We built it in '91. It's worked off of ICs, and the driving is strictly IC boards. There's no computer involved, and the track detection is a modified T1 or whatever that original track detector was. It's required to be on DC, so DCC was not an option for me unless I wanted to start all over, so that's why I went with Rail Pro, which is a DC-based radio control system that we're quite happy with.
Great, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Well, Don, thank you very much for sharing that. We really appreciate you dialing in and doing that and sticking with us. We know we had a bunch of technical difficulties before the last clinic, so sorry it was maybe a little later than you'd planned, but thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Mike was, and then Mike talked a while, so I don't know whether he's still there or not, but...
Yeah, I'm still there. Good seeing you again. How long ago did you move into this house? How long have you been putting the railroad together again?
I remarried in 2012 and moved here in 12, so we've been here 9 years. And I started rebuilding the railroad after knee replacement about 9 months after we got here. So it's about 8 years of off and on working on it, plus having operating sessions.
You're still building a lot faster than I do.
Well, it's an on again and off again operation like for most of us, so it's a hobby, not a job.
That's a good point, Don. You're building faster than I am too, so congratulations.
Yep.
So,
Thanks
okay,
so
I think that's all the content we had for this meeting. Again, next meeting's in August, so stay tuned. Look for something on the Facebook page or the website. Chuck's going to update the website with the next meeting too. And I know Ron thinks I'm being optimistic, but I'm betting. I'll put $1 down right now. We'll be in the Weathersfield Police Station for the next one. So, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, and thank you, Don.
See ya.
You're welcome.